Welcome to the Pure Air Podcast. We're your hosts, Shriji Patel.
Anushka Kamasetti.
So, in last time's episode, we talked about our whole nonprofit organization, how we started, and our second episode, we focused on our school elementary presentations. So, now, Anushka, could you expand on what we're going to be talking about in this episode?
Yeah, so as we aimed for higher goals and we started wanting to expand our horizons, we realized that we need more skills and more people on deck. So that's when we started our search looking for team members who could bring the right skill set, the maturity to deal with this topic. And that's when we encountered two wonderful members. And now to introduce you to the rest of the Pure Air team.
Yeah, so these are our two new board members. So, could you guys introduce yourself and say what your favorite hobby is?
Hello everybody. My name is Shub. I'm the CFO, and my favorite hobby would have to be golfing.
Hello, everybody. My name is Pavian Chivakoti. I'm the CTO. My favorite hobby has got to be boxing.
So, we have a couple questions we would like to ask you guys. So, Anushka, would you like to start?
Yeah, just to get started, what sort of like motivated you guys to join us? I knew you guys had amazing skill sets. That's sort of why we decided to bring you guys as a candidate onto the team. But obviously, the decision's on your end too. So I want to hear a little bit about what was your motivating factor to join our team.
So I've been following you guys for a while, like even before I joined the organization on Instagram, right? And I see you guys going to all these elementary schools and doing these fundraisers, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool, right? But then I see you guys get 501c3, and I'm like, oh my God, they're really becoming official. And then I remember I reached out to you regarding a golf fundraiser, which that kind of like started this entire thing. But I think what really motivated me to join was just seeing your impact on the community, because you guys have traveled to how many elementary schools? 4, 5, around there. So that was like really cool to see. And it's really like your impact's really what brought me on board.
For me, I would say I also noticed that you guys were starting to have an impact on the community. What with going to the elementary schools and such. Really, I have like a very great disdain for drugs in general. And so your mission really appealed to me in that sense. And I'd been looking for a way to get into the community with my tech skills. So this just seemed like the perfect opportunity.
Yeah, and sure to add on to that, Shub approached us first with his idea for a golf fundraiser, and in that moment, I guess we sort of figured out like Shub's the perfect guy for this. And Shub, do you want to share what you do in school so that puts into context of how you have this role?
Yeah, so right now I go to Randolph High School. I'm in an academy for business administration. Through that program, I've learned so many great things, but it's particularly I have a certification in Excel and QuickBooks, so I'm very familiar with accounting. I also do all the business clubs, FBLA, DECA, all of that, right? So that like those skills that I've learned, like something like accounting and budgeting, has really helped me grow into this role and become accustomed to it. And I'm just so excited I can leverage my skills to help this nonprofit.
Yeah, would you say like the skills you've learned in school have sort of been put into perspective into like the real world scenario
Oh,
by
for
being here?
sure. Like the beginning of this year, I was learning about debits and credits in accounting. Like, when am I going to use this? And then the first journal entry I make for this organization, it's a debit of like $200 in cash. So like clearly, like literally from the first lesson I learned in accounting, I'm already applying those skills into the real world.
So, is there anything you've taken back like from the nonprofit and like sort of it's made sense in school? Like, okay, you're able to make some connections.
Yeah, for sure. Something like journal entries, for example, right? I really didn't understand it in school like that much, but as I start to do them right, you kind of like see how like what you do like in the real world is actually like kind of like the same of what you're doing in school. I've also kind of like been more familiar with the regulations and gap rules and things like that. Actually understanding that I have to follow these regulations. These aren't something I can just like ignore.
Yeah, that's true. I know I've been on calls with you trying to understand. Personally, it's not my forte, but just being in those conversations, I've learned so much too. So, yeah, I completely get even as like just being a student.
I mean, yeah, now we'll hop on to Above over here. So, what were your first thoughts when joining our nonprofit?
I had a few things in mind. first of all, obviously I'm in the Academy for Comp Sci at Morris County School of Technology. So I have this tech background that I really wanted to make use of for us, right? And so one of the first things, which is I guess really more in his department, was payment and transactions, right? We want people to be able to donate seamlessly, effortlessly. Um, we In order to like get donations, we have to provide them a platform that's easy to donate on, that they want to donate on, right? We don't want to make it a hassle for them. So that was one of the things I was looking at first.
So do you think like certain computer classes, coding classes helped you when like developing our website currently?
So our freshman year in the academy, I'd say the last marking period, we focused heavily on website design, and UI UX. So one of the things we covered specifically was payment processing. So with our website, that's in the works, coming live soon, um, we really honed in on some UI UX philosophies that we found to be used by like fast food retailers, which when you think about it is sort of wild. We're using something that McDonald's uses, right? But what it does is it inclines people to give you money. It makes it simple and enjoyable. They feel satisfaction, right? Especially because we're working towards such a great cause.
So do you think like while making this website and talking to us about like certain like design elements, do you think just making the website overall has helped you kind of in your computer classes at school too, like maybe making you more prepared?
So I wouldn't say at school, but I would say in other projects where we still have to use agile, which is what that iterative process is. It's definitely helped me streamline the process at like my internships and such. So it's definitely valuable.
So as you can see, guys, like they're very like talented and they're very advanced when it comes to their roles. So now we're gonna move on to our next topic, which is just on how they've kind of contributed to our nonprofit organization. So Anushka, would you like to start off with our questions?
Yeah, so Bob, I know the website's quite difficult. I've been in a few calls understanding how this is going in the works. You're not doing this alone, so can you share a little bit about how that collaborative process is, how you're working with your team or like IT department?
So I wouldn't call them an IT department, but we definitely have a few talented souls on our comp sci team. They all do have this background in UI UX. They actually recently went to the finals for the some NASA app development challenge. They produced something called Venadio. Um, so granted, they're very talented people. One of the hardest things for me is to balance their passion for UI UX, their passion for this front end development, and then getting stuff done, because they're looking up there, right? They want this to be the greatest website everyone's ever visited, but it's got to get done. So it's like at some point you've got to start to trade off between like what is ideal to you, what you really want, and then having a working website. So I'd say that's where that's at.
I mean, talking with like not IT department, but our computer team, do you think they have given you feedback on how this whole like website development and helping our nonprofit organization like in their own life? Like, do you think it's helped their computer science background too?
I would say if anything for them, this is one of the ways for them to really shine in what they do. This is more a test of their feats, and from the feedback that we kind of go through almost on a weekly basis, I'm sure that this is going to help them incorporate later in life, because this is really what like at my internships, this is what our design process looks like. It's please do this, you do it, you come back to whoever your team lead is, um, get feedback, improve, come back, and it just keeps on rolling like that.
Yeah, so Shub, similar coming back to you. I know you're still building a little bit of a team, but how does the collaborative process look like for you? Because I know Bob is has members from the academies. They come with a little bit of knowledge, but you are still filling in a few of our team members on the financial principles and stuff. So what does that look like for you?
Yeah, so like right now, I wouldn't really call it too much of a collaborative process. I'm kind of managing the accounting and like the budgeting right now. But yeah, it would be great to kind of expand out. Right now, we're really focused on just nailing down the accounting, making sure we get those Excel spreadsheets like done, making sure we're like updating things annually, things like updating things like weekly, things like that. But it would be great to have somebody who can just, simply like be a bookkeeper, like just type in the journal entry, somebody who can check the Excel statements, somebody who can send those financial statements, things like that.
So I have another question for you. So after talking with the rest of the team, do you think certain strategies that we've suggested has helped you in like bookkeeping or like whatever finance we have to get done?
I think specifically like more fundraising, for example, right? Like a lot of the ideas we pretty much floated around like amongst ourselves, like they are really good ideas if we can actually execute them. Something like the fundraiser in Fairlawn, the fundraiser, like the ShopRite fundraiser, things like that, right? I think that in terms of bringing in revenue, I think the executive board as a whole has some really good ideas and it's definitely like helped us bring in money into the organization.
So do you think so I mean if you guys don't know, we've had a couple chapters in Fairlawn and a newly one in South Brunswick. So do you think talking to their like head of finance, they've had like you've helped them in certain ways to advance their financial strategies?
Yeah. So, right now we have obviously a chapter in Fairlawn and a chapter in New Brunswick, as you mentioned. Definitely like I'm enjoying the collaboration process. I'm definitely like asking them to send over financial statements, things like that. I'm also giving them some advice on how they can fundraise and grow their own individual chapters.
Okay, great. So do you guys have any questions for us that you guys would like to ask?
So, what do you really think the biggest challenge right now, I guess, in terms of fundraising has been?
Um, just coming up with effective ideas. Obviously, um, everyone says time is money, and we've noticed that we spend a lot of time doing live fundraisers. But the most difficult thing is finding something that's efficient, gets us enough revenue, and that's where you come into, Shub, like helping us streamline that, improvise our ideas, make them better. So I think, and just like get people coming, getting the word out, and things like that.
Yeah.
I want to add that I think the corporate sponsorships,
Yeah.
Yeah.
those take effort.
That's really what we've been trying to do, right? Like a lot of nonprofits, like a majority of their money is coming from donations, right? But we're really trying to diversify. We're pretty reliant on PayPal donations, right? We're trying to definitely bring in things like grants, things like fundraising from like a golf fundraiser, and as Bob mentioned, like a corporate sponsorship, right? Diversify where our money's coming from.
Right. That's what we've been really working on right now, getting uh, not only just people involved, but larger organizations and companies, because um, all aspects of the community are so important. Yeah.
Yeah. And so do you guys have any other questions before we wrap this up?
So Bob, can you walk us through what the website's really gonna feature?
This is a dense question.
No, I think our audience needs to know because that's what they're going to be interacting with.
Yeah, of course.
We also have a current website, so like really what's gonna be the distinction between the new one and the current like the new one and the current one?
Interactivity. When you log on to our current website, there's great information there. There's great visuals. The layout's great. Donations, we take you to a link onto PayPal and you do your PayPal, right? But there's not so much an emphasis on who we are, what we do, in that it's not living. It doesn't breathe, right? In this new website, we're trying to breathe air um, into what we sort of accomplished or what you guys have accomplished so far. We want to feature, where you are in the news. We want to feature what your most recent events were, what schools you've been to. We want it to be updated. We want everything to be visible and our payment windows, like I mentioned before, we're taking a page from McDonald's book over here, but we want something smooth, something rewarding, right? You're doing if you donate money to us, you're doing something for a good cause.
Right.
So you want that to feel rewarding, not like you just got scammed on PayPal. So really we're trying to build this sort of professional experience while also highlighting the community impacts and just again making a breathing website.
So I really like your ideas, what you have to make the website more engaging with our audience and just make it overall like an interactive experience. But yeah, that's really it. And thank you so much for like your support and what you guys have done so far, like helping with our website, our bookkeeping. Like, thank you. Anushka, do you have anything else to add?
No, just sort of ending. on what you said. I see so much more for our future having you guys on board. Shu brings in amazing skills with all everything he knows about finance. To like, I can't even tell you. You can see why we need Shu. And to all the fundraising, and Shu's gonna be our key to those corporate sponsorships and sort of more of the technical stuff. And Bob as well, helping us with our community engagement. So it's a pleasure having you guys on the team, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for all of us.
We're glad to be on board, and this like journey is only getting started.
It's a pleasure to be on.
So thank you a lot for tuning in on this episode, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.